Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my round 8 team review, going through how it was a pretty good round for me. 303 round rank is another really good round. I mean, if you look at the, I'll bring them up on screen when I get to the app, when I flick it across, but if you look at the rounds, round 8 quickly here, and you look at the scores and such, I pretty much held even to most of the top teams. Even the number 1 team, I went up by 22 points on them, so I gained on them. Number 2 side, I lost like 8 points. Number 3 lost like 1. So I'm really sort of holding ground to the top couple of teams in the last couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, relatively. I've only lost like 50 points in the last couple of weeks, basically. It was just the rounds before that I really lost a lot of ground. But anyway, so yeah, really good round for me. 303 round rank. And then quickly looking here, 1602 points. So hit the 1600 barrier, which is a huge barrier in the women's. And then an overall rank rise from 717, I believe, up to 492, which is a rank rise of 25 ranks, which is a really good rank rise. 2 rounds to go. Let's see if I can make a massive improvement, because if I can make a massive improvement in these next 2 weeks and push myself up towards that sort of top 200, top 250 range, then I'll be really, really happy with that as an endpoint, given the starting point that we were. But before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, what I was saying in the intro, 1602 points, 303 round rank, 11,618 points overall, and an overall rank of 492. If we look at the rankings here, you'll see what I mean by I didn't really lose too much ground to the top guys, as they had a poor week, mostly because I believe Sheeran, and this is the play that I'm thinking about actually doing, getting in Sheeran. That was one of the plans that I had, but another plan was to just beef out my forward line. If we quickly just do that, you would have seen the defender trade that I'd actually already put in, and this is a good thing. And something I have to commend the AFLW fantasy for doing is they're actively actually changing the game mid-game. I don't think it was available in the first 3 or 4 weeks. You had to basically clear all your trades just to roll back your side so you could actually see the side. If we look back now, you can see who I've actually decided to captain and anything in any single round. So it makes it a lot easier to look at the statistics for past rounds rather than me actually having to go back through the videos and do it. But yeah, that is something that you have to give props to the fantasy team for implementing mid-season. It's fixing a sort of something that wasn't on par with what the men's were doing, and it made the experience a little bit worse, but then they fixed it up, which is really good to see. So yeah, looking at the team here, I had this McDonald's set up, I think on the Friday or something like that, because I knew there was quite a big possibility with me playing sport on the Saturday and not being able to catch the games until the Saturday night. That McDonald, I was going to have to quickly put the captaincy on her, and I wanted to be able to make it as smooth as possible, so I just wanted to be able to flick the C on her rather than have to move some parts around, especially on the apps and stuff like that. It can just be a little bit of hassle, and you just want to make it as simple as possible, so putting her there and knowing that Thomas was going to take that spot makes it so much easier. So that's what I did. Carney 74, so yeah, McDonald isn't playing, but yeah, that's fine, just getting her as a loophole. Carney 74 did her job against who they play in there. Melbourne 74 is fine. She has Adelaide 70 is fine again. Priest 36, and this was a dumb trade by me, not trading her out. Does this actually show my... it doesn't show my actual trades, I believe. But yeah, Priest not going and scoring a 36 really sucked, as she lost like 200k or 190k or something, 192k. If I traded her out, I believe the best was getting Walker in for her, would have been a huge prop. It would have been, if we look here, Walker, round points, you'll see Walker here gained 111k. So that would have been, what, a 300k difference in team value, and just would have allowed me to do some weird and wacky trades, I guess you'll see. It would have been a more streamlined trade, and being able to, I guess, not have to trade in like a 300k girl instead of being able to and get and keep Walker instead, and still be able to almost get, I think, a Hoare or Frederick or something like that in the forward line, which I still think is going to be a good plan for the preview when we get to that. Heads 88, huge against who do they play in the end? Western Bulldogs, and now plays Collingwood. Hopefully they can do some hopefully she can do some damage there and get like a 70 or 80, as she is almost on the verge of being a is she almost on the verge of being a top 10 defender sort of. Yeah, here we go here, and you can see, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She's ninth in the defender category, but Priest is going to drop before her. So I think Priest will drop below her after this game, as I believe she lost like 4 or 5 in the last little bit. In the last game alone, her average dropped by, I think, 4 or 5. And if you look here, you've got obviously Stannard. O'Driscoll, I think, is a very odd one in that. What was her last? I think O'Driscoll should hold above her, but it won't be by much. Tiny Evans is around the mark, but she's within a reasonable range. She's 10 off the top of Stannard, which again would have actually been another good trade in, but she's so close to the top that it's fine. And I think Stannard in herself will drop a little bit. What did Stannard made? I think 92, didn't she? Yeah. So, but she's holding it around 72, 73, which is fine. And I think Heads could easily, if you take out, what did she have, one bad game? Oh no, she had she's sort of a 40s or 50s girl, and then a couple of big games have boosted up, to be honest. She needs a couple of big games to get higher. But anyway, Heads is doing fine at 64 is what I'm trying to say. Evans, 65 for the game against, who did she end up playing? She ended up playing Carlton, 65, that's fine. Now plays Gold Coast, just hoping for anytime you have a defender at the moment in AFL Women's Fantasy, 65 or above seems to be the benchmark for just, if you can get 65 each week, then that's fine as a defender. Noffy, 138, ended up being the second best scorer of the week for me, behind obviously Goldsworthy's 168, I believe. And she just beat out Malloy's 137. But yeah, just Noffy doing her job. Plays North Melbourne, so I don't think I will captain her, as I've got it's actually going to be a tough week to find a captain. It might actually still be Noffy. It depends on who plays first, etc. And we'll get to that. I guess I'll figure that out now. Just looking at the schedule. You got Gold Coast versus GWS. Who do I have? Geelong again play the 7:15, which is really good too. Just captain McDonald. Swans play Collingwood on the... There's a couple teams that play each other after the... So it could easily be someone like not a Gardner, I can't do that. It could easily be I might actually take a flyer on Goldsworthy into like a Noffy or something like that. That could be the plan, honestly. But we'll go through that in preview. Gardner failed, simple as that, against Melbourne. It's fine though. She's held by that many people that it's honestly fine. Riddell, 94, saved it so hard in the last quarter with a 48. So she'll hopefully be fine, I think, and come back stronger in the next game. Still averaging 117 in the last 3, even with a 94. And she plays Adelaide, so hopefully she can do well, and I wonder if they will. I don't know if they'll necessarily run the tag on her or whether North Melbourne will run a tag, but we'll see. But again, they should return back to their form, and you just knew that the Garner and Riddell with Bruton weren't going to triple up and score tons again for like the third or fourth consecutive week. You knew one of them was going to drop. It just happened to be all three of them, but Bruton dropped the worst. So I knew Bruton was probably the one that, just looking at her film, was the most likely to drop back to her norm, which was a 60, and I believe she did do that in itself. I believe she did drop a 60, 60 on the dot, and if you look at her DFS, if you look at the DFS numbers with the points per minute, that was the sort of her range that she was going at last year and for 2 or 3 games this year anyway. Whitford 84, probably one that I've got to improve on. We'll wait on and see where the options are next week. Might run at random with going for Whitford down to like a 900k option and just run it and just hope that it works, and then upgrade a potential if I have which is the plan at the moment, is to get Hartel, and hopefully in 1 week she has the ruck again. She's like 380k at the moment. If we look at Hartel, gained 70k this week, had the ruck, plays Western Bulldogs who don't have a ruckman or have Borg. If she can go and score another 60, which we'll see what happens in the ruck matchup this week. But if she can go score another 60, then she's going to go up by like 120, 130, 140k, and then gain something like 250k from Whitford, as well as another like 70 or 80k from Borg down to another ruckman. That's like 320k on top of potentially 500k, and I can almost get up to a really good defender from Hartel for the last round, which could be a good plan. Prasparkas 99 against Richmond, that was fine, honestly. McCarthy 28, getting back into the groove. Plays Collingwood, I think she'll struggle, and I don't even know if she'll play. But she does look like there's something there. Just needs to get not involved in the non-disposal points. You can just see here, she's got 15, 21, 29 out of her 79 points, which is a fair margin, actually, of her non-disposal points being there. She has a terrible kick-to-handball ratio, which is just a little bit poor, to be honest. What's that? 8 and 15. So that's a pretty poor, almost 0.5. It's like 0.53 or something like that kick to handball ratio. You need that above 1, to be honest. Strom 85, pretty good. Didn't bother to play, I don't think. And it was either the third or the fourth where she just decided not to play. And got like 10 or 15 points. But 85, and now plays Melbourne, which will be probably a struggle in the ruck, but we'll see what goes on there. But hopefully she can just be good. I really should have gone Wales now, looking at Wales' schedule. I believe she might even have an easier ruck matchup this week. If we look, she's got Carlton against, is it Moody, the one that, I think it's Moody. If we look here, was it Moody? Yeah, against Moody, that'll be a tough matchup, but we'll see what goes on there. Borg 41, she did really well, now plays West Coast. I'm hoping she can do something similar, because if she does something similar, then that'll be, it says here that she didn't move, even though she went up 36k, as we have evidence of that. But I'm pretty sure she'll move. She got 36 for a 41, so I'm suspecting she will, with another 41, go up probably 50, 60k. But I think she could easily, against West Coast Eagles, go and score a 50 or 60. I would love Hartel and her to both score 70 on the weekend. That would be kind of crazy, and that would allow me to probably make some massive moves in the last round as Borg, if she went, I combined Borg and Hartel. If Borg went 70 in this round, she'd go up, I would say, probably 110, 120k. And that 150k plus Whitford's potential 200k in a downgrade or something, that's 350k plus Hartel. If she goes up, say 120k, then that could easily get me almost up to any defender that I want. That would be the dream scenario, is getting Stanek for the final round from this pre-spot, which will go to Hartel, which will go back up to hopefully Stanek in the last round. But I'm just here to make a play and just hope that it works. Gardner 134, Goldsworthy 168, Roberts 47. So I thought about originally actually trading out Roberts after the 47, but I think she's just, it was her lowest score of the season by quite a margin. And I just want to see the stats with regards to where she was, because she is playing Western Bulldogs this week and they might actually get the win, to be honest with you. So I think this is an easier opponent, so Roberts should score well. Goldsworthy, we've talked about her pretty much in every video for the last like 9 videos or something. In every game review, I reckon her name was brought up. 168 is just huge. So the metrics behind it are huge. It was something like 100 non-disposal points. Gardner 134 was absolutely huge. For some reason, not many teams decide to tag, and that's the way that Conti, Gardner, Georgia Prasparkas when she was on form, and Riddell sort of run riot on other teams because they just can pick up 30 to 35 touches. Single is one of the taggers in the league, and she's got GWS this week, which I don't think she'll be put on Goldsworthy because Goldsworthy isn't a midfielder. We'll see what the midfield split is when that comes out tomorrow from DFS, the CBAs. But I think she'll be put on. Let me see. Let me actually go to the AFL app, because that'll be the easiest way to tell who was actually playing in the midfield teams. GWS, they had Dalloway in the midfield. Then they also had Barr and Zrika. I don't think they'll put her on Zrika. Could they put her on Barr? Let me just see Barr's stats. what did Bar put up? 13 and 15. What did is there anyone here that really did it? What did Dalloway put up? If we actually go to GWS and we go to round points, you see Zurika, she just put up all her points in tackles. If you actually look at it, only 12 touches. Bar, single could go to Bar, but she could also go to Dalloway. So there's sort of 2 or 3 options that I don't think she'll go to Hicks, as she only got 7 touches, and so I don't think she'll necessarily go to anyone other than, I think Dalloway or Bar will be the ones that she goes to, but we'll see what happens this week, as I don't even think she's in my side. I think she might be the one that I trade out in the forward line to get the likes of a Frederick, who I think is position. I think Malloy drops down to an F4, which is a fair position, I think. Then you got Malloy 137. We talked about that quite a lot. I think she just ran a mark 17 score involvements, which is a score involvement record by 4 over Lockhart in 2018 and over by 5 over most of the competition. Then we just had Brown, Huntington, Borg, McCarthy, and McDonald on the bench, and they all did what their desired role pretty much is, except for McCarthy, who dropped in price, I think, a little bit, 8K, nothing much, but she can easily turn that around because that was an 11 she was trailing with, and now she's got a 28, so it should be a lot easier if she goes another 28 to actually gain some cash back, but she'll probably just sit on my bench for the rest of the year. So that pretty much is the video there. And I think one thing I sort of noticed with this year across is that there is such a huge importance on getting the rookies right. Because with me, you can see here, Huntington was wrong. Getting rid of Stratton was wrong. Getting rid of Nanscorn and Smith, their timing was wrong, I guess, as Smith has gone up so much. So I think that's one of the biggest killers this year for me in the AFLW fantasy was just the mistiming of trading players out, as you see here, especially with Priest. I was around too late and lost 190k. Should have just scrapped it there, gotten rid of her, gotten a Walker or something like that, but that's something that we learn from. And next year, especially with the men's, I don't think it's as important with the men's, given their fluctuations aren't as big. But with the women's especially, you got to time your outings right. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.